Today's podcast is going to be a little different than what I normally do. And this one is going to be a little bit more of a rant. It's a rant to younger me. I got asked earlier this week, what's the most important thing that you've learned since leaving the W-2 world and starting your own business? And I've noticed that my answer has remained the same the last few times I've been asked that. And how I answered that was, I realized that in my previous career, I wasn't nearly as good as I thought I was. And I want to explain that for a second, just to give context. If you're out there and you're listening and you don't know me particularly well or know my backstory, I spent almost 14 years with Target, and the job that I held before I left, I was making multiple six figures a year. I did that for many years in a row. Multiple years in a row, we'll say. I ran my own Target stores. I did 2 of them, and then I had a role where I oversaw 82 stores across 3 different states in a certain facet of the business. And those stores did over $4 billion in sales. And I don't share that to impress you, but I share those details to impress upon you that one can get a pretty, impressive, I thought it was impressive, job and still not be that good. And I think the lesson there is the bar is so low these days. I got to where I got to because I worked really hard. And for more context, when I was in my 20s, the second role I accepted with Target is I worked overnight for 2 years. I went into work at 9 o'clock at night. I left work around 7, 8 a.m. And I did that for 2 years in my early 20s. I gave up what most feel would be a very social time of your life. And I think that's just an example of the hard work that got me to the job that I ended up getting. But here's the thing with hard work. Number one, anyone can work hard. It doesn't set yourself apart that much. Now, again, today's bar is very low, and so if you do work hard, you can accomplish some pretty, quote, impressive things because there aren't many people who are willing to work hard. But if you want to do something really special, you can only work so hard. And taken to a hypothetical extreme, there's only 24 hours in a day. And so let's say biologically your body needs 6 hours of sleep at night. You could work 18 hours a day for as long as your body could biologically handle that. And that's the ceiling of your hard work. You can't do anything more than that. And so then if you want to become more valuable, or if you want to be better, then it's not just hard work. You have to become more skilled. And I think when I was at Target, I worked really, really hard to get to the position that I was in. And what was interesting is when I had a baby, my priorities shifted a little bit away from working hard, and I wanted to give focus to my family. For the first time in my life, I made a career decision that was not in favor of the career. It was in favor of my family. And as I continued through that job, what started to happen is because I had gotten to where I had gotten to, I just thought I was really good. And what I've learned over the past 4 years, I think where I am right now is exponentially better than where I was even just 4 years ago. Exponentially. And had I had the belief when I was at Target that I actually just wasn't that good and I need to focus on improving whatever skill I wanted to improve at the time, man, do I think that could have given me an even better head start in my current business. And so if you are out there, and again, remember, this is me talking to younger me, I urge you that if you feel stuck, if you're upset with your boss, or don't feel like that you're getting what you could get at your job, or don't feel like that you're making enough money, or some sort of natural thought progression to the external that I am not happy with where I currently am because of some external reason, insert boss, insert whatever it is. If you can just consider that maybe it has nothing to do with the external and maybe you're just not that good, I think it can change your life. And I think that's really powerful and very important. What I've learned about myself is the purpose of my life is to create a future version of myself that is better than who I am today. And what that means is that there will be people outside looking in who say things like, when is enough enough? You are good enough. It's important to believe that you're good enough. This has nothing to do with being good enough or enough being enough. It has everything to do with there being two options in this world. Option one is you accept that there is no future version of you that is any better than who you are today, and therefore you put zero attempt to improve. Or option two, you accept the fact that there is a future version of you that is better than who you are today, and you strive to become that future version of yourself. And that has nothing to do with enough being enough. It has everything to do with a desire to fulfill a future version of you that you have potential to be. And this is so important to me. An example of how important it is to me, one of the core values in my business is relentless growth. The way that we came up with that core value, when I say we, my wife and I, we were on a date night. I had core values in my business, but I told her they don't give me this feeling. They were good, but I feel like I can do better. We went out to coffee and we talked for more than 2 hours about who I thought that I was, who she thought that I was, putting all these different words together. And after 2 hours of in-depth talk about what it was that I valued, what it was that she valued, because then I could learn about what I'm attracted to, we came up with relentless growth. And I love that phrase because I think it very accurately describes something that I've always felt that maybe I was never able to put into words. And I think also what's ironic about that is I can remember so many times throughout my life where I had that feeling and I felt guilty for having that feeling because of the messages from the outside. When is enough enough? You're good enough. And so if that resonates with you, if you're hearing that from the outside and something just feels wrong, hopefully putting what I'm putting into words may help you neglect that there's any need for any approval from any of those people who are saying those things to you. I think there's so much power in believing that there's a future version of you that's better than who you are today, and constantly working, tirelessly working to become that person. And you've heard me say this before if you know me, but I truly believe that the number one personal development school on this planet is owning a business. And the reason for that is because if you own a business and you don't get better, your business has a high probability of failing. And I don't know this to be true, but maybe that's why there's such a high failure rate in business. Is because I do think that there aren't many people who are exceptional. And by definition, that means they are the exception. And could it be that the people who are the exception are the ones who have this innate desire to improve? And because they have an innate desire to improve, they choose that when their back is up against a wall and it's either go out of business or get better, they choose to get better. Whereas most people choose to just give up. So I know this was a little bit more of a rant. But the message that I have for you, and again, this is to the earlier version of me. Believe that you are just not as good as you think you are. And that is not, it doesn't have to be this self-deprecating. It doesn't have to be something that makes you feel bad about yourself. That's not the point. But if you believe that you're not as good as you think you are, then it gives you a frame to simply work on improving. And so I hope that thought empowers you. I hope that resonates with you. That's something that I think I wish the current version of me could have said to the younger version of me when I was young. And something I've found after putting into words this obsession with relentless growth, man, I am obsessed with that feeling. That is where I find my joy. And it's fascinating because then it becomes nothing about achievement. It becomes nothing about some sort of financial target. It's all about just becoming a future version of myself that I know I have the potential to be. So it doesn't have to be about achievement. It doesn't have to be about enough being enough. It can just be about you striving to be someone that you know you can be in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you got a value out of that. Thanks for listening to my rant and my stray from my normal stuff that I put out there. And I hope it served you in some way. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.